Hello, my friends. Russia is threatening to send and has sent very interesting weapons already to Venezuela. In fact, Russia had a large transport plane, we well know, back in late October, about the 30th, I believe, of October, that landed in Caracas that had Russian IL-76 transport plane was the plane. It carried the Palantir S-1 air defense system, and it's also known now that they have delivered the S-300 VMs and Buck M2E air defense systems to Venezuela. Furthermore, they're threatening to send hypersonic weapons to Venezuela. And on top of that, there has been some rumors about nuclear weapons. Now, that seems to be a stretch to me, but then again, one of my friends not too long ago had some strange visions about weapon systems that indeed Russia or somebody may have delivered to Venezuela that may in the future be used as an EMP attack upon America. Now, I've talked about this in the past and the risk of that and what it can mean, and it's off the charts. Even if they send it or not, what could come to us here at home could be devastating. Not to mention that we still have a whole lot of Venezuelan uh, Trendy Agua gang members here in the United States that came here when the prisons in Venezuela, which was run by Trendy Agua, were opened up and Maduro said, go north. So there is a lot at risk here. I'm going to share a bunch of articles on this, and other things. China has developed a new long-range drone that they can develop for $10,000 a piece, which far dwarfs the capabilities and low cost of anything comparable in the American system. So we are facing a lot of interesting threats, and I'll be wanting some of your feedback on some of this as we get into it. So, guys, buckle up. I'm about to share some of this stuff with y'all. Really and truly, if the whole message about this is not pro-war, it is pro you getting your rear ends ready, you prepping for whatever may come, because there's a lot of saber rattling going on right now, and sooner or later, some of these sabers are likely to be clashing. So just keep that in mind as we go forward here. All right, you should see this pop up in a second here. Okay, Moscow just gave Venezuela air defense systems, not ruling out long-range strike missiles, the hypersonics. This is according to Russian officials. And there's already photographs showing, I'll show you in a minute, showing that these things are indeed in Venezuela and in service. Again, this is referring to that Caracas IL or 76 transport aircraft that brought some of this stuff over there. And there's been other flights and systems going on for some time. So this is some war zone. A high-ranking Russian lawmaker claims this government has sent these systems and could provide ballistic and cruise missiles in the future. So they're talking about a Renzik. They're talking about the missile. They're talking about the caliber. They're talking about quite a few Russian systems that could be sent over there in addition to what they've got already. As you also know, we've got our USS Gerald R. Ford steaming on its way to the proximity of Venezuela as we speak right now. Where is this going? Donald Trump is, he's making certain threats, but he's also kind of caging what he's saying to some degree. And here they're saying that they're going to send these hypersonic missiles and that Americans may be in for some surprises. Now, what does he mean by surprises? This opens a whole new chapter. And, they're not just talking Venezuela. They're also talking about sending missiles to Cuba. As we know, China has a big force in Cuba. So where is this going, my friends? Are we heading back toward a Cuban Missile Crisis 2.0? Are we facing both Russia and China off at the same time? I said on here some time back that this whole conflict with Venezuela was probably about a whole lot more than just drugs. That a big piece of this could indeed be the geopolitical, geostrategic competition against others that have been going into Venezuela in force, Russia, China, and Iran, and North Korea too. So these are things that you have to take into account, that the United States is trying to protect its sphere of influence within the Western Hemisphere, which is rapidly degrading as these other countries build up their forces and systems within our own hemisphere at our soft underbelly, right below us, where we've not been arraying our defenses as well in the past. So what they're talking about? They're talking about, indeed, the Resnick and Caliber missiles. I kid you not. This is what I mentioned a minute ago. These are, these are nuclear capable missiles, by the way. So what are they trying to threaten here? Hypersonic missiles, the Caliber, the Renzic, is their the theater ballistic missile. And here's a photograph of some of the stuff that's already in Venezuela, allegedly. Right here. And that's some pretty serious looking missiles. And we know that Iran has for a long time been sending missiles into Venezuela, including during Trump's first term. And I covered that many years ago on this channel here to warn you of the kind of stuff that was heading in that direction. I will check the chat room in a little bit, guys. I want to go through the main news first for our morning coffee club members, or the guys who want to watch this to breakfast so they can get through the news real fast. And then we will go into the chat session. So for those watching, the first part of this video will be news oriented, and we'll keep it that way for your benefit. Again, Venezuelan Buck M2E surface-to-air missile system deployed west of Caracas right now in Venezuela. This image was collected by their local media on the 25th of October. So this thing's been there. 25th of October. Well, there's two of them right there in train, one behind the other. So what can they do with these? Is our stealth F-35 capable of evading this? We shall see, perhaps. Anyway, so here is Russian official threatens to supply nuclear missiles to Venezuela, and Cuba has called the United States a Russian enemy. This is the State Duma Defense Committee Deputy Chairman Alexei Zaralov. I don't know how you pronounce that, but anyway, he said that on October the 29th. And he referred to us as the main geopolitical adversary. So, and he says that the Russian system has an entire range of missiles at its disposal and use what is needed. It said the United States is not a friend or a partner. So he's really, cracking down. And again, they say these threats are meant to evoke memories of the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis. Wow. Wow. So guys, it's coming. Something's coming. What is it? No, it's not just warfare of bang, bang. There's economic warfare ongoing right now. BRICS capital, the BRICS capitals, they signed this agreement in Moscow, a pact basically for de-dollarization. And so it was for all these countries to reduce their reliance on the U.S. dollar, take the U.S. dollar down as the world's reserve currency, which underpins our ability to run the deficits we've been running. As you know, we're already $38 trillion in debt, and the interest payments on our national debt exceeds what we now spend on national defense, which has been considered a key hallmark of a nation state that's about to fail. Not a good thing. Not a good thing. And we now have the BRICS payment system is in operation across 185 countries. So, if nothing else, they're trying to take us down economically, even if, nothing else happens. And right now, how long it will be nothing else happens? How long can we bank on that? Especially with China wanting to go into Taiwan in the near term. So the good news for those that are wanting to invest still is that gold has dropped just a little bitty bit, and so is silver. Not a lot, but even if it is on still a general trend upward, if I said, I'm not a financial forecaster, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not an economist, but when you look at all the stuff going on, it's the degradation of the dollar, which is one of the things that drives up the price of gold and silver. So it's something to think about. This might be a good opportunity because as things go, it's not a straight line. It's always up and down like this. There's always ups and downs. So we're on one of these little downs. So it might be a good time to buy. Might, maybe just something to think about to put into your metric of what makes you feel safe and secure with your future. Because this, defythegrid.com, they've got a deal where if you find a better deal anywhere else, they'll meet it or beat it. Nobody else makes that kind of price guarantee. They sell gold, silver, platinum, palladium, and other precious metals in bulk and bullion, the bars. They sell it in rounds, they sell it in coins, and they also have these goldbacks. The goldbacks are the little bills that you can put in your wallet. This is denominated in 1/1000th of a troy ounce of gold, which makes it something that's more fungible, which means you can trade it, barter it for everyday common life items, unlike a bar of gold, which is very valuable, or even gold coins. So just something to think about, my friends. You can get the gold backs, you can get all these different things. And the cool thing is, since they only operate on, they make that deal because they only operate on margins of 3 to 4% profit. That's all, which is mighty tight. But they will they will give you 1% back. You'll get a 1% discount if you use the discount code Green Gregs. My channel name, Green Gregs. So something to think about. Give it some thought and see if that's right for you. Okay. Back to it. China is also back in Venezuela. Well, no kidding. Trump hits at Maduro's end. He's saying that Maduro's days are near their end. So the tensions are going up from both sides. U.S. prepared to strike U.S. Venezuelan military bases as Trump reps up the pressure. This is what some are claiming. Trump he's been cagey about saying what he will or won't do. But my friends, we don't send a Gerald R. Ford down there for nothing. If you look at the array of naval assets and Air Force assets that's being applied to a potential conflict in Venezuela, it's a lot more than you need to take out drug boats. So what is cooking? There's definitely a lot of pressure on Maduro. Is it going to end with just the pressure, or are we just trying to scare his pants off where he'll flee to Iran or Russia or China or somewhere else? I don't know what the real game is, but there have been a lot of hits on these boats, but it's not just off Venezuela and the Caribbean Sea. It's also in the East Pacific off the coast of Colombia. Colombia seems to be a target. There's talks of going into Mexico. But anyway, but Putin is rapidly developing his nuclear forces. I've long announced back when we started this channel, because he put out in 2018 when this channel started that he had 6 nuclear super weapons he was developing. We've talked about the Sarmant. We've talked about some of these other cruise missiles, hypersonics, and it includes the Poseidon nuclear torpedo, which they've just unveiled. And we'll go into that in a minute. And also their Brunswick, Burenesnik, I can't say it right now. Their nuclear, here it is, the Burenesnik missile, which is a nuclear-powered nuclear cruise missile they've just tested. So Russia is really coming out with a lot of stuff, and Putin is really boasting about their capabilities. Well, we don't know, but is it worth taking a chance against? Russia unveils nuclear submarine near NATO border. And I mentioned this to you guys a couple of days ago. And, they got a submarine carrier that carries these Poseidon nuclear submarines, which are intercontinental submarines, by the way. Intercontinental. Their range is basically unlimited because they have a nuclear power plant to run it and a nuclear warhead that could carry the capacity of the submarines to be able to carry the 100 megaton Sarbama, cobalt salted, which could unleash horrendous radiation upon whoever they unleash it upon, just rendering shores deep inside the country unusable. The radiation effects would be catastrophic. Well, that's no joke if they use the cobalt salted version of this thing. And this is a diagram of one of the launcher submarines. I think this is one of their older, is the Belgrade. Well, they got a new submarine for this now. And this is the Poseidon missile, torpedo. It's just like a missile almost. But here's what something we got to bear in mind. Here is the Chinese $10,000, 1,000-kilometer range strike drone. And they can manufacture, China mass manufactures like nobody else. They can make these things in vast quantity, far faster than we can, far cheaper. And this thing, I said that unit price could be as low as $10,000. Well, it's got 1,000-kilometer strike range, and it can carry quite a payload. The closest thing we have to this is our Switchblade 600. There's Switchblades 300 and 600. Now, the Switchblade 600 has a whopping range of something like, 45 kilometers. Far shy of 1,000 kilometers. And what's it cost? Probably $125,000 to $175,000. Wow, you see the gap? And we can't produce these near as fast as Russian can produce those. So just have a think about that. I said we are shy on munitions, but we're out throwing our munitions all over the world. We need to save our munitions in case we have a conflict with China. We need to try to find a way not to have a conflict. But that possibility is stark right now. And this is, you can find these over here on Wikipedia also. Great detail about the Switchblade 300s and 600s. And so there's a lot of stuff in there. I was thinking about using these as a basis for submunitions to be used out of a large version of the solid rocket boosters that have been used on SLS for deployment as a super weapon that we could develop. Would use these boosters to give it range and just have thousands of these packed in, because that thing can lift 3 million pounds payload. Put it at quite a velocity. So to me, that's the way we need to go. Something like that. We need to get out of the box in the way we do everything. But we also need cheaper munitions. That's the Switchblade 300 basically fires from an artillery system here. The 600 is a little bigger, but it's a lot more expensive. Just to show you, the Switchblade 300, which just has a range of a few miles, it's $60,000 to $80,000 per unit. This says the $120,000 to $175,000 per unit, and they only have a range of 45 kilometers versus that 1,000-kilometer, $10,000 drone being developed, actually developed already, being fielded by China. So if you don't think China has a military threat, in addition to the fact they got us hacked to the hilt here in the United States, everything we got practically has been hacked by China. So they're prepared to bring everything down, not to mention they got sleeper cells here. Wow. Anduril is one of the more innovative companies in America, unlike Lockheed Martin and Boeing and the really big defense companies. They're a new company. They're more innovative, but still even their stuff is pricier. Now, this is their YFQ-44A maiden flight of this drone. Now, this drone is meant to be a wing aircraft with the F-35, so it's not exactly the same as the ones we're talking about, but this thing comes in at a whopping price, too, of 81 million. Well, yeah, excuse me. The F-35, this is 81 million. I think it's a lot more than that. This Anduril drone is 25 to 30 million a piece. 25 to 30 million a piece. So there you go. Just to show you, we're nowhere near the same skill. And this article is one I wholeheartedly agree with. NATO drone maker says the West needs to stop over-engineering its weapons. We need to come up with weapons that we can produce in bulk, because we need to be able to fight a long-range war if we get into it. If anything, the war in Ukraine has taught us that our old idea that these wars will be over in a couple of days is a bunch of hooey. So we get into a war like this, it may last, especially if we're fighting a near peer, Russia or China, which may be more than a near peer. China may be way beyond us these days. And, it's not just drones. There's all these little battlefield robots, these little dog bots. They basically took the Boston Dynamics concept, which, those things cost $100,000 a piece, and made a cheap little robot dog that can do the same thing, and, for a few $1,000s. I got a humanoid robot now for like $1,500. I kid you not. A humanoid robot that walks on 2 feet for like $1,500. That's their latest. So these robot dogs can carry ammo, clear obstacles, support paratroopers, and we've seen versions of these with rifles mounted on them, automatic rifles. So these are not to be joked with. A couple of these could flush out a sniper, for example, especially if you put about 4 of them out there, a lot quicker than some soldier crawling on the ground. These things can move fast and they're still low slung. And they could take turns behind obstacles like we trained to do in the military when I was in the Army. But, you know, China not only has their ICBM silos, they got silos just for air defense missiles now. They got 2 systems they've just put in with retractable roofs so they can take a major hit and still emerge to perform air defense functions in China. So you hit it and it still goes. But now these 2 sites they're talking about are in Tibet Autonomous Region, which is one of those disputed areas in Tibet. Hello, India. You're over there making friends with China, but guess what? China's still planning to slip that dagger in your back when you relax. So India, really, you need to think about who you're allying with. You're making an alliance with the devil essentially when you make your alliance with the dragon. Watch out, the red dragon. You know, unfortunately, you guys aren't familiar so much with our prophecy books of Revelation and so forth about the red dragons. So, and some of the other prophecies and revelations, well, I think pertain to you getting your you know what handed to you. So I've covered that in the past. Anyway, about Ukraine now, the war in Europe is raging. It is raging. Ukraine is trying to take down the economic lifeline of Russia. They're going for the economic juggler. They're taking out the pipelines. They are hitting refineries and several other things that Russia uses to finance its war against Ukraine. Several Russian oil ports here, vessels hit. So Russia may be in a world of hurt on this if Ukraine continues to pick this up. But every time Ukraine hits Russia, Russia responds with overwhelming force hitting Ukraine. Still in a war of attrition. I think Ukraine is going to be hard pressed to come out ahead, as I said before. But it's not without a lot of damage to Russia too. And we are sponsoring a lot of this stuff, and well, Russia knows that, and that may be why they were in kind responding by sending weapons to Venezuela. So, you know, sometimes things come back around to bite you, and it may drag us into this greater war, which I am not for. We do not need to be in a war in Europe over with Russia. And somehow we need to you know, I don't know how we get them out of, we do not need Russian forces and Russian bases and Chinese bases and our soft underbelly in Latin America. So we are in a pickle. So you tell me, should Trump move in before these hypersonic missiles are provided to Venezuela? Because they said they're going to provide them. They haven't said they have provided those. Tell me in the chat room if you think the United States should not provide these, should not go into Venezuela to, in some ways, prevent this. Put a 1 in the chat room. If you think the United States should go in now before this happens, put a 2 in the chat room. I'm just wondering what y'all think about it, because it's a dilemma any way you turn. It is a dilemma. I'm just curious as to what you guys think about it. And you can talk about it at length in the comments after I post this video, or in your live session, whatever you think. So, anyway, so the bottom line that I really still believe is that, you know, Taiwan, the destiny of Taiwan should belong to the people of Taiwan. Quite simply, I believe everyone should have the right of self-determination to align themselves however they desire nationally. That they, you know, and apparently the Chinese people do not want to be a part of the People's Republic of China. You got to remember, they are the actual original Chinese government, because they were the Taiwan is the Republic of China. A lot of people lose sight of that. It's not a matter of reunification, as the CCP-PRC makes it. It's a matter of conquest. Anyway, and now Trump's talking about going into Nigeria with guns blazing, is what he said, because there are a lot of Christians that are being taken out in Venezuela. I mean, made to push daisies. by the Islamicists over there. And so he's talking about, hey, I'm tired of this. We'll just go in and stop it. Well, the country of Nigeria apparently isn't so happy with that, but I don't know. Uh, we have responded militarily to all kinds of things, but we've never really been looking after the Christian people. Look what's been going on in Sudan for decades now, and many other countries around the world where Christians have been at the brunt of horrible actions. So I don't know what should happen here. If you think the United States should stay out of Nigeria, put a 3 in the chat room. If you think they should go in, put a 4 in the chat room. Uh, this is, but to me, the big question is how can we be doing all this stuff while we're still facing the prospects of China? To me, I'm wondering if this is playing whack-a-mole again, like we did with Houthi so long, wasting a lot of our precious munitions that we might need to use against China. So we're almost done with the news portion, friends. Just a couple other sidelines outside of the war talk, just things you need to be aware of because I am concerned with product safety and food safety. I've talked about this many times over the years on this channel. Here's what you need to know. There's been for a long time for sale all these little silicon-based food bake pans and cookie pans, especially these muffin pans, because they're supposed to be real easy to bake a muffin in and get the muffin out of. Real easy to use, and yeah, they're easy to use, except one thing to know, they're putting toxic compounds into your food and in the air when they're being cooked. So this is not good for you guys. This is not at all good. It may be convenient, it may be fast, it may be wonderful because you don't have to clean it as much. But my friends, it's 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 toxic. You really don't want to go here. I'm going to do more about toxic stuff in the near future. This is something I'm going to be drilling down on more and more because there's just so much of it out there that you need to be aware of it. I mean, this is everyday advice that all of us face and use. If you're at a friend's house and they're serving you muffins and you discover they use one of these, you need to be talking to them. Say, hey, you know what? I think I'll limit my intake of this, maybe eat the heart out of the inside, or maybe none of it, and tell them, hey, you need to really reconsider what you're using here. All right, looks like I'm in a hang up here. It happens sometimes. Let me stop the share for a second and we'll come back in for these last few articles. But sometimes this stuff hangs up on me and I have to come back into it. I found that for some reason when I undo it and come back to it, I can get in it. Well, now, where was I? I don't see that now. That's odd. That is really odd. Oh, let's see if I can see it. Now, there it is. Wow, that was crazy. It's like disappeared from my screen options. Wow. All right. Now we're going to go into space weather. What happened to earthquake things? That earthquake one pulled up and it seems to have shut down. Well, this is something you need to be highly aware of. Remember those ginormous super flares that got shot out at 3i Atlas? Well, those sunspots are coming our way and are very, very active. Yesterday, they shot out an X1.8 class flare just yesterday. These guys are all real active. I want you to look at these guys. They're huge, and they could grow. What you need to know is that quite often the sun shoots out its biggest coronal mass ejections as it's going down from the peak of the solar maximum, as it's on maybe 2 years after it hits the peak on its way back down. It can throw ginormous solar flares out, ginormous coronal mass ejection. And we're talking about some of these things that went off the other side of the sun could probably have taken our power grid down. And this is why you guys really, really, really need to pay attention to this and prepare yourselves for the day that we do not have a power grid. And it might be very short. Who knows what these sunspots are going to do? We can see that even though they're not facing us, we're getting quite a bit of aurora activity right now. So, yeah, just look at these guys. They are very powerful flares. Plus, there's a coronal hole facing us right now, and that's the coronal hole could actually weaken our magnetosphere and make us more susceptible to the incoming flares from this system. Not to mention, their overall magnetic field strength of Earth has been dropping year after year after year. It's a lot weaker than it was in 1859 during the Carrington event. And the Carrington event, we now know, isn't the strongest solar flares our sun can shoot off or has shot off. There are these things called Miyake events. It's way more powerful. So we don't know what the sun may have in store for us, but we haven't prepared our technological civilization for what could come. Yet we've got so dependent upon electrical power and technological means that we almost can't transact business and operate without them. A grid down would be catastrophic here in the United States and the same way around the world. Now, I'm going to see if I can pull up the earthquake stuff. Um, yeah. Let's see here. We'll type in we've had some major earthquakes. We're really active along the San Andreas Fault area, the Juan de Fuca plate here. We got an interesting one here in Texas, a 3.2 in Stanton, Texas. We got a bunch of them up here in Alaska, around Cantwell, uh, Chase, Alaska. Look over here in the Kamchatka Peninsula, 6.0. 6.0. They're still having major earthquakes there, and that was in the vicinity of that Russian nuclear base. And if we come over here and looking around Indonesia area, Philippines, in the Philippines, let's see, Indonesia 5.2, 5.9 at them in Indonesia over here. And this is in Indonesia 5.0. Just a lot of earthquake activity right now. So be prepared for that. Let's go back over here and look at the asteroid report. Yeah, look at these flares. Yeah, now look, this is where we're at on the solar cycle, roughly. This is all projected from here. But we're beginning to be on this downhill slide where the sun typically gets more active. So we can open this up. It's right in here. You sometimes see the largest sunspots right in here. And this cycle was more powerful than the last cycle. So much for this whole thing of this shows how we had an X45 right here on the downhill side of solar cycle 23 for comparison, just to give you guys some illustration of what I'm talking about. That we're nearing that point. That would be right about here. Doesn't mean these spots coming around might not get us. You need to get your preps in order, and you need to do it in a hurry, because Lord knows what's coming. Now, the good news is today is now the 5th of November. So we're right about here in this prediction. And there's nothing known that's a direct threat to hitting Earth of any size. But look at you always see these things in the past. There's all these were still just discovered asteroids. Like this one came in between Earth and our geosynchronous satellites. Fortunately, it's only 3 meters in size, 8.1 kilometers per second. That might have been a rocket booster. So that's not a high velocity compared to all these others. It's a small size, so it could be some piece of a rocket. Sometimes that's what you see with those. We could go in here and look at the orbital elements on it. And I bet that's got an orbit that's not too far divergent from Earth orbit. So let's look at the orbital viewer because of the low velocity. That's what makes me think that. And all right, so let's blow this up and go in close to it. Oh yeah, it's got a very close orbit to us. In fact, I can't even tell where it ends and where we begin. Whoa, there it is. It's got the marks on it. The blue is us. You can see, yeah, it's really close to Earth orbit. So I would posit that that is actually a rocket stage or something like that. I can prove it, but I think it's a high likelihood this is a rocket stage, or it may be a piece of the so-called new moon that we found that's going to be hanging around us for maybe 80, 85 years, which also may be a rocket stage instead of an asteroid. A moon, as we might say. So who knows? All interesting stuff. So now we're going to stop this part of the program, the news part, and I'm going to go into the chat. And we're going to look at the chat room and see what people are saying in here. See where you guys stand on things. Who we got in the house tonight. I see we have Nanny Anderson. Hey, Vape King. Good to see you too, KP Heathen. Good to see you back. Maya Horizon from Alaska. Zen Jammin. Yes, it's family. Amen. We got JoJo, Dancing Gypsy, Stan, the man, Grenfell, Arnold Schmidt. Stan is also an active member of our Freedom Restoration Foundation. We got Knucklehead Garage. Oh, yeah, we're talking about the motorcycles. And we got Cha-Cha in the house. Good to see you, Cha-Cha. Let's see. Forget everything else. China is going to rule the world. That looks way too likely. Way too likely. Oh, there was an article that, oh my God, there's an article I had in my lineup, must have accidentally deleted. Most of this Chinese surveillance state and their software and all their hardware was supplied by U.S. high-tech companies. Can you believe that? It's time we stop that. I had an article up to that effect, and I guess somewhere it must have got deleted when I was lining everything up. Yikes, guys. So we have been underwriting and helping China put together their surveillance state to oppress their people, at least our big tech companies. So you think they're going to give you any favor here? No. America is flat broke, and now Canada will be $86 billion in debt if the new budget is passed. Perfect scenario for uniting both countries. Yeah, I'm not sure I want both countries united because most of Canada votes very on the left side of the spectrum. So where's that going to leave the United States? Just look what's just happening. Look who got elected mayor in New York. What do y'all think about that? If y'all are happy with a New York mayor, I would say put a 7 in the chat room. If you're not, put an 8. Well, guys. Hey, we got Rodney from down under in the house. Good to see you, Rodney. All right. I'll be in and out due to checking on my dinner. Yeah, we used to do these at your dinner time. Hopefully it won't be on much longer. I got to get up early in the morning. Made China. Very fine quality. Oh, hey, Giovanna Roberto. Where you from, Giovanna? Are you in Italy? Yeah, we got Rochelle in the house. Feeling just like Epstein, just hanging out. Oh my gosh, Arnold. Yikes. Yeah, the Epstein stuff is a mess. All right, Rodney, thanks for calling for the thumbs up. Chewy, good to see you in the house, Chewy Weather. Chewy's got a lot going on, trying to monitor weather right now. Sasquatch Moon. All right, Arnold. Good to see you in the house, Sasquatch Moon. Yeah, you would think that Pope Leo would say something about slaughtering. Why doesn't he? Yeah, that's a darn good question. You really hit it to the point there. I mean, it's been going on for some time, and everybody's keeping. I'm not sure us going in with guns a-blazing is the answer, but yikes. Something needs to be done. All righty, Cha-Cha. Much love back to you too. So Rodney, we'll have to go for dinner. All right, catch us on the rewind, Rodney. We're not going to be much longer in the house here. Canada, so to me, Beaver going to New York City. I'm not really sure what you're saying there, Arnold. Anyway, how many people we got in the house? 86. I'll hit the refresh button here. See where we stand on some of this. 86 in the house, only 42. Only half of you gave your hands a thumbs up. I know actually more than that come through the house. Well, now we only got 60 watching. Okay. All right, guys, hit the thumbs up, please. I need all the support we can get to help the algors that have no rhythm. Jason Chapman, hey, how you doing from Kentucky? All right, that's a good point. I want everybody to tell us where you're from tonight. Tell us where you're from. Oh, yeah, we got the egg guest, too. Oh, I got the eggs were over there. I didn't bring them to the show, but we'll have that in a moment. Everybody tell us where you're from, and then we'll do the egg guess. How about that? All righty. We're waiting for folks to tell me where you're from, where you're coming in from tonight. We hadn't asked that in a long time. Not seeing any responses yet. Yeah. Is the chat frozen, or y'all just don't want to talk tonight? Y'all were pretty chatty a minute ago. My thumb is up. Well, thank you there, Stan. Appreciate that. Stan the man. Plymouth, Massachusetts. All right, Pilgrim. Very good. I'm Canadian, so the thought of me going to New York City is not there. Western Alberta, Hillsboro, West Bocostan. There we go. Portland, Oregon. Bless your heart, Rochelle. Idaho. Hey, that's a good place to be. Calgary, Alberta. Hey, the Saxon River Stone. There we go. Alberta's always well represented here. Larry Schultz, North Texas. All right, I've driven through Amarillo quite a few times over the past couple of years, moving out here on I-40. All right, Mississippi. Hey, Mississippi Outpost. Kathy Humphreys. Night owl. I'm from the foothills of South Carolina. Well, you are a night owl. You're in Eastern time zone. All right, very good. Very good. Okay, guys. Let's do the egg guess. How many eggs did I harvest today? How many eggs did I get from my hens today? Let's see what you guys. The first one that guesses it gets it. First guess, it gets the right number. How many eggs did I get from my hens today? Keep going. I had 5 day before last, Huey. That was the number for day before last. Yesterday was 2. The day before was 5. All right, keep going. All right, Mississippi Outpost. You got it. Mississippi Outpost got the correct guess. I got 4 eggs. 4 eggs from my hens today. Salute Mississippi Outpost. All righty, 4 eggs. That's the number. All right. I think there's some delay when I ask something and when the chat comes back. Yeah, it was 4. I don't know, so I'll ask a question and the answer stop popping up later. 4 eggs. All righty, folks. I think we can. How long we been on? We've only been on 41 minutes, so we can make it a fast video tonight. So I really want to thank you, mods, for keeping the channel clean. Let me check on one thing before we go out, in case somebody else is in the chat room not able to talk, making a donation or something. Because I do have another way to make a donation to the channel. I don't see it right here, so that's good. Just double checking, because I like to give credit when credit's due. All right. So again, I want to thank you, mods, for everything you do, keeping this channel clean. I want to thank everyone for coming here and watching, because that's I need watch time. Please, the algorithms have been hard on me, so please give me the thumbs up, share my videos. After I post it, go in and make some comments, comment to other people's comments, and the chat that's posted after I post a video. So that'll all help me and help my channel. It helps with the algorithms. Oh, we got Canton, North Carolina in. Very good. What part of the state is Canton in? Yeah, I need to get my 2.5 hours of sleep because I got to get up early. I got a meeting first thing in the morning. So I got to get to that. I do still work. I got a day job. I just posted a video on our other channel, Galactic Greg's, talking about the rocket science behind this change in velocity on the 3i Atlas. And also I'll show you all the latest new picture, which they've just got of it from behind the sun, but it's actually got a lensing effect and enable them to actually get a picture from an Earth telescope, although it's got a lot of static in it. So check it out, guys, and check out my Galactic Greg's channel. Got some internet. Alice, how you doing? I was busy ordering some supplies to replant my new fern. Hey, get your supplies now. Anything you need to get, now's the time to get it. Because you just don't know how long we got to get things. Get your preps in order. I always tell you all that. Get your preps in order. Speaking of which, I got a little propane oven I brought in the house, and I need to replace the valve for it. And I don't know where to deal with it. I got to find it again. Anyway, so thank you, Cha Cha, for sharing my Galactic Greg's channel there. Oh, I'm logged in with Galactic Greg's. No wonder that popped up in color. Yeah, I didn't realize I'm actually logged in here watching this as Galactic Greg's instead of Green Greg's. So with that, I'll give y'all a halo. Very good. So you can actually click on my channel name too. It'll take you there. That's two ways to get there. Use the link she did or click on my name there. So that's funny. I didn't realize I was still logged on into the YouTube actually as Galactic Regs. So anywho, I do want to thank everybody for being here from the bottom of my heart. We are family. But we got a chance to end the video after about 45 minutes now, which is unusual. So let's do that. I did cover a lot of news. I tried to cover it fast for the people in the morning. So with that, I am going to say again, thank you all for watching from the bottom of my heart. And keep coming back. Very good. Thank you for subscribing. Janet, appreciate that. Jason, how you doing? Thank you for subscribing, Jason. Appreciate that. Yeah, let me tell you something. YouTube pulled a trick on me. Before we go, YouTube pulled a dirty trick on me because every time I've got monetized in the past, it was full. But now they got some trick they pull. They give you a threshold to run at, and it's like Lucy in the football, I think, with Charlie Brown. I feel like Charlie Brown on YouTube now. And so I met that threshold, and it wasn't full monetization. There's no ads. I can get super chats now on Galactic Grades, but they still won't run ads. I got to get a whole bunch more views. So go over there and just watch some of my videos on play. There's several of them an hour long. Just let some of that stuff play. I need all the views I can get on Galactic Dregs. So help me out with that because we still ain't there yet. They pulled a surprise on me. And I was like, how come I don't see the buttons and things to monetize videos I normally see? Because every time I've ever been monetized in the past, it all came together. But now they've broken it out. You don't get the AdSense until later. I don't know. YouTube's a tough nut to crack. Tough nut to crack. Just started as Halo, LOL. All right, Stan. All right, everybody. Again, thank you all for watching. Thank you, mods. Thank you all for being here. And I'm going to say happy, hearty, good night. My cursor ain't working. What is going on here? End the video. I can't get the cursor. There it is. Now it's going. Wow. So to one and all, a good night and a good day wherever you